Okay, welcome to mini lesson number 5. Last but not least, this will be the longest one of all, but you'll probably appreciate it. For some of you that are doing some great work out there, you might want to add this to your logo. This is not required as part of the class, but this is something that you're welcome to use in order to make it better. Now, what I have here is I have a simple extruded text on a plane. My material editor has two different colors. One is green and black. Now you can use any color over here that you'd like. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the black material, drag it down to my ground, and I'm going to take my green material, I'm going to drag it to my text. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create a glowing effect using what we call video post. It's very similar to rendering, but it is the different setup, different system. One of the things we can do is we go over here and do the self-illumination. We could throw some self-illumin on it, but notice it doesn't really, it's lit, but it doesn't glow. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change that. I'm going to darken that back to black. Take that down to virtually blackness. And I'm not going to use that. I'm going to use this glow effect instead. Now, in order for us to do that, we have to take the material. Step one is to take the material that we want, and we have to change its material ID channel. So that's down here in this area where it says 0. We want to change that to any other number. It doesn't matter what the number is, just remember what number it is. I'm going to pick 2. 0 is default. That's with the black. We don't want to mess with that. Now, in order to do this, we can do a quick render up here, and notice we simply get glow text. Nothing's really glowing. It's simply just bright green on a black plane. So I'm going to come up to the word rendering. Underneath rendering, you'll see down here, and it's not under render setup like you might think, you see the word video post. Now we select video post, and what video post is going to do, it's going to be a little bit more complicated. So in order to follow along, you can take some notes. The first thing we need to do is we need to add a scene event. Okay? And we do that by selecting this area here. And what that's going to do, it's going to add a scene event. And we can pick several different things. The first thing we have to do is we have to pick what view this is going to see in. Now, glow will only work in the camera view. You can't use it in front, left, or right. Second thing is the render setup. When we select that, we can choose what renderer we want to use, as well as the common fields that we normally can adjust. We can also add motion blur at this point, which we will not do, and the scene range, 0 to whatever. The video post parameters, though, are going to be the actual ones that render out. Now, the reason why I can't change this from 100 is because my timeline is only set at 100. Video post can be used for still frames or video renderings. So I'm going to hit OK. Now that that's in there, it's saying camera 1. That means that only camera 1 will glow. If I render the other views, I'm not going to get anything. Number 2, I need to add image filter event. Now what we're going to do is we're going to tell it what kind of video effect we want to put on the rendering. By default, it says contrast. Notice there's quite a few down here. The one we're going to use is lens effect glow. Okay, we'll do a setup. We need to set this up. Now what's going to happen here is we have all these different parameters, and I'm going to hopefully show you just the ones that you basically need. The first thing here, it says object ID. Think of that ID number as well as effects ID. We want to change these two numbers to match the glowing material, which is 2. So highlight those and change those to 2. The next thing we can do is look at our preferences. We're in the properties. We're going to go to preferences. Preferences is going to allow us to make some changes to our glow. You can always come back and check these out later on. But for now, let's do a preview. And what it's going to do, it's going to show you, see this glowing effect here? That's virtually what our project's going to look like. Just the text that's glowing. But we can alter that by going down and saying, I want the size to be 2. Notice how it gives you a preview of what it's going to look like. So maybe 5. Let's do a little bit of glow, or even 4. We can always come back and change this. The next thing we can do is adjust the color. Now, when it says pixel, it's pretty much going to take this color. I like using user, which is going to define the color. And I'm going to go out and pick green. Sometimes you may want your glow to be a different color than the actual object. We've also got intensity here. We can adjust that just like a light. We can take the intensity down to 75 maybe, and we'll get something like this. Now again, this is just a preview. At this point, we hit OK. The only other thing we have to do is we have to output this thing. Add image output event. By doing that, you have to do it in this sequence or you're not going to get the results. We have to go out and name what our file is going to be called. So I'll go to desktop. I'm going to call this glow text. I'm going to go ahead and save it as a bitmap. We could also do it as a video. I'm going to hit save. OK. Now at this point it's saying video post parameters up to 100. Excuse me. Hit OK. And then last but not least, to review, we have the queue. Camera 1 is first, lens effect glow, then the output. To put this all together, to execute it, we hit the little running guy, execute sequence. At this point we choose, do we want single or do we want the range? Okay, I'm going to say single rendering. We also have to define the size. We can go out and just say, all right, 640, 480 is fine. If we were doing TV, it'd be 720, 480, and we'd use this NTSC DV default. Let's just do that. Now we hit render. Now, don't be confused. This is not rendering. This is video post. So it's going to generate a different file, very similar. Hit render. Notice what happens. It renders and it does a second render, and there we go. We have this glow text. Now that's definitely probably too intense. I can't even make out what that's saying. So I can go back in to the lens effect glow. That's the actual file that lets me change the setup. And now we can cut down the intensity. Maybe we'll go to 50, as well as cutting down the size to 3. Hit OK. Re-execute the file. Yes, I want to overwrite it. Yes, I want to re-render. Okay, again, now we're starting to get a little bit, you see the intensity, the glowness is not as far, but we're still too bright. So you may have to go back, depending on the size of your scene and all of the different features that you're working with, and maybe change that. Now I'm going to take this all the way down to like 10, and then I'm going to do a size of 5 because I like that glowing effect. Execute, yes, render. Okay. So notice how it's changing here. Again, it's glowing. It's not going to give you a lot of shadow work. All right, but we may want to go ahead and change our camera perspective in order to get a better view. Now this works for anything, not just text. It also works for any object as long as you apply a material to it, and that material has a different material ID channel. So you may want to watch this video over a second time before taking the quiz. And I've also, because it's an intense lesson, in the same folder you'll find a PDF file talking you through the steps. So good luck. Take the 5-question quiz out on Angel, and hopefully I'll see some of you using glow text in your final project.